All right, everyone. Well, good morning and welcome to our Mind the Moment's Thursday morning gathering brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. And this is a place, as you know, that we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to speak with us about what mindfulness means to them and to discover and figure out this wonderful world of mindfulness, how we can incorporate these practices into our daily lives. I'm Suzanne Rowe Palacino. And I'm very happy to be here this morning with Tara Healey, founder and director of Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare's mindfulness program. Good morning, Tara.
Good morning. Good morning, Suzanne, and good morning, everyone. Nice to see folks joining. And we're getting a reminder from Susan that there is a new registration process. And so people might be a tad late.
Okay. Well, we can just give a few minutes before we jump in, but
Yeah.
I'll still go through our typical reminders. Today, Tara will start us off with a question to get us chatting and then lead us in a guided practice. So if you go to the bottom of your screen and open up the chat, and you can click on the blue drop-down menu that will allow you to choose everyone in the chat so you can see all the comments coming in. And that's all of that piece. So it looks like a good amount of people are here. So let's get started, Tara.
Yeah.
What kind of question do you have for us this morning?
Okay. So for anyone who joined Suzanne yesterday, the theme was connected to spring and what it means to thaw. And I thought for this morning, I would continue that theme of spring. And one of the things I always personally notice is that it feels like a really powerful, energetic time this particular season. And last night when I was listening to the news, the meteorologist was kind of giving the weather report for the week, but then added on that this time of year, spring, is when we get the most powerful storms. And it didn't surprise me. And I thought, you might automatically think it was winter, but he really kind of emphasized that there are powerful kind of weather events in the spring. And so while it's a time of kind of growth and hopefulness, it's also, I think, energetically powerful and can be a little bit unsettling. So my question is, what does spring evoke for you? All of the pleasant and the unpleasant aspects of it. But what does spring evoke for you? And Suzanne, we'll start as we usually do with, I'll pose that question to you while folks are thinking. And as you are coming up with ideas or even questions or even comments, go ahead and write that in the chat. And Suzanne.
Yeah, I agree with the hopeful mindset. I also find myself being pulled into plans. I think because spring is adjacent to summer, and
Right.
we feel like we need to plan ahead for summer. I feel like there's a lot of plans being made, but I also find I'm pulling myself back to say, I don't want to make too many plans. And I want to, I will write on my calendar certain weekends I'm not going to make any plans because I just don't want to be that busy. I like to have that downtime.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's almost, in some ways, it almost feels like fall when we're gearing up for something, and in spring we're also gearing up for summer and plans and vacation and all that kind of good stuff.
How about you, Tara?
Yeah, and I think for me too, like the more pleasant and positive aspects of it are that we're really seeing low numbers with COVID right now. We're at like such a kind of a good place. And I think, I feel ready for something new, to be able to engage in the world and also all of the little shoots coming up out of the earth. And I think about how amazing this is that we can, this is something we can rely on, right? Like spring after spring after spring. During the winter, there's all this stuff happening in the earth. And then the energy of spring and the sun and the warmth start to bring these, flowers and plants up to life. So that always feels so hopeful and inspiring to me. And I think on the flip side of it, I sometimes feel a little bit unsettled, sometimes feel a little bit anxious in the spring. So, the beauty of this practice is that there's nothing to do with it other than just to feel it. It's not like I have to make it go away or distract myself or push it aside. But when I feel that kind of unsettledness, my instruction really is just, what does it feel like when I feel that kind of unsettledness? So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what we have coming in. I made it.
Made it, yes. Hopeful change, a lot of hope.
Yeah.
It's last mile of a marathon. Mood boost and more motivation.
Yeah.
New and unpredictable. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All of it, right? Like all of it.
Summer. Yeah.
And it is funny, the interesting contrast in temperature, because as I'm looking at some kind of a rainy, snowy mix, and that it was, in the 60s, not that long ago. So again, like, I think there is, the unsettledness of this pattern and of the earth. Yeah. So with that said, delighted that all of you had joined. And we'll do kind of a settling in, a little bit of a concentration practice. But what I'm going to do is actually then have us open the field of awareness to just, not isolate your attention on any one thing, but just a receptive allowance of thoughts and emotions and body sensations. If you ever feel unmoored by that, always go back to your anchor, which is breath sensation or perhaps sound. Another thing is palms of hands resting on thighs or on the table in front of you. A little bit more, you can aim and sustain that attention. If it feels toward the end like it's too much, you can always just go back. But start with a body scan. We'll then move into a more focused awareness. And then toward the end of the practice, we'll open our awareness to be what's often called choiceless or objectless awareness, and just really bringing that receptive attitude in the mind.
Sounds good.
All right. Okay. So standing or sitting, eyes open or closed, your choice, whatever feels like it's going to serve you best this morning. So however, you might be feeling today, see if eyes open or closed feels better, or standing or sitting. So go ahead and take the posture. And I always begin with 2 deep breaths, making that exhalation longer than the inhalation, but just as a way to kind of settle any surface tension, kind of settle in from the activity of the morning so far. So on your own, 2 deep breaths, exhalation longer than the inhalation. So noticing the body, whether you're sitting or standing, surrendering your weight into the support of the surface. And take a moment to become aware of sound in your surroundings. So either in the room you're in or perhaps outside of the room. Just for just a moment, let's receive sound. And releasing sound as a primary object of concentration, allowing it, of course, to remain as it will. Begin to bring the awareness back inward. Just notice the whole body. Notice the points of contact with the back of the body and the surface. And what's that physical sensation like at that point of contact? Holding the body so that the spine is straight but not stiff. Allowing the shoulders to drop and soften just to the degree that you can. Noticing the soles of the feet, kind of grounded to the rung of the chair or the floor beneath you and the earth beneath that. Let's start at the very top of the head. We're going to move awareness down over the face, sides of the head, the back of the head, kind of like warm water rolling down, coming down now over the neck and the shoulders, arms and hands, the torso, all the while noticing, softening to the degree that you are able to, and sweeping down over the hips and thighs, the knees, the lower legs, and the feet. And releasing and just noticing the whole body for a moment in whatever posture you're in. Is there anything at all that is calling your attention? Softening any parts of the body that you notice might need that. And maintaining a spine that is straight but not stiff. And we'll begin now to narrow our focus of attention and see if we can find an anchor for the wandering mind. So not to worry about thoughts coming and going, that will generally be happening a lot. It's normal and you're meditating correctly. Again, we're not trying to stop our thought process. We're making a conscious decision when we've seen that we've entertained a narrative, a story that has kind of slipped in uninvited. We're just making a soft mental note, thinking, releasing, softening the body, and returning to either breath sensation or sound, or another body sensation, such as palms of hands on thighs or on a table. So taking a moment to see what anchor is going to best serve you this morning. So as you breathe in and breathe out, you might want to notice where that sensation is easiest for you to connect with and track. So tracking the in-breath and the out-breath, the abdomen or the chest, the nostrils or someplace else. Or perhaps there's another anchor that's going to be easiest for you. So I'll be quiet for the next several minutes.
Noticing where the mind is and reconnecting with whatever you're using to help anchor attention. Now that we've got a little bit of steadiness, release the anchor. So whatever you're using to bring your attention back to, go ahead and release that. And essentially have a kind of wide lens of awareness. So thoughts and emotions and body sensations and sound, we're really upping the receptivity in the mind, not grasping onto any one thing. And when you see that you have, not a problem. Just as we did before, you can make a soft mental note thinking. You could be more specific, could be planning, anticipating, regretting, whatever. But it's sometimes easy just to keep it really simple. Thinking, notice the body, soften, and just receive. So very much like you're on the edge of a riverbank watching a whole bunch of stuff float by. And the idea is you're not pulling any one thing out. Just there is a kind of allowance, a receptivity to whatever is occurring. So we'll do this just for a couple minutes.
Thank you, Tara.
Yeah. So I haven't done that practice in a while with folks. Just to kind of, the idea with mindfulness meditation in general is that you want to create some steadiness of mind by bringing the wandering mind back over and over again. That repetition actually helps calibrate or steady the mind. Just like if you were lifting weights and you were doing reps, you'd be building strength and flexibility in your muscles so you could then use them. We're doing the same thing here. We're doing reps with the thoughts. So thinking mind comes in, we bring it back. Not a problem either. So we don't have to be we don't have to be like, oh, there I go again. It's normal. So the thoughts can be like the dumbbells in a way, bringing it back over and over again, helps steady attention. And the idea is that when our minds have some stability, we can see more clearly the way things actually are. When the mind is jumbled, we just don't see as clearly. And when we open the field of awareness to receive everything, the comings and the goings, we're really learning about the nature of change and impermanence, that every thought, emotion, and body sensation is going to birth, it's going to do its thing, it's going to move. It's one of the more profound teachings. And everybody knows that everything changes, but when you start to personally really experience that through these practices, you start to understand that in a much deeper way. And that brings more peace to our lives in general. So the back and forth, with an object, either breath sensation or something else, that's just settling, bringing some settledness. The opening up and the receiving is such a significant part of the practice. So I would love to hear any comments or questions. Is that confusing? Is it, anything is fair game? And Suzanne, of course, you as well. And if that felt hard or it felt easy or anything at all, would love to hear.
Yeah, I personally have a different reaction to that every time, but then every time we sit is different. I think it also prepares us. It's an easier transition going from that open awareness to once you end the meditation, you feel like, okay, well, I kind of prepared myself for what it's like to be in my regular day-to-day world, because I'm taking in these different sensations, but I'm not holding on to them too tightly. So it's in some ways it helps one with bringing in mindfulness to our regular time during our day-to-day lives.
Yeah. Yeah, like the tradition that it feels more seamless transitioning from that into yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um let's see, it feels like practice aligned with my mind, bouncy but aware. Yeah, right. Like it's good to know, it's and enhancing just that awareness. Because I think, during the day, we don't necessarily notice it as much, but the practice helps us to notice it more, um,
Mhm.
so that we don't get so carried away by it, that especially if we're provoked in any way at all. The practice helps us see the provocation so that we can then speak and act in ways that are aligned with our values rather than, you know, misspeaking or being unskillful in any way. And if that happens, we see that clearly too, because we're human.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, the riverbank it's good because you can think of the different objects as sort of metaphors, like a dinghy or a dilapidated boat can float by, or you could have a big yacht go by. Um, and there's nothing to pull in or cling to.
Yeah. But then that anchor is also, when you picture the anchor, you picture, okay,
Yeah,
the way as the river's going by to still settle a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
I really like that you brought this practice in, because we're feeling, like you were mentioning about spring, we're feeling that energy of
right.
things coming and going.
Yes.
So it really helps us to keep ourselves steady during that time.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. Um,
People connecting to the riverbank. We don't need to react to everything we see or feel. And someone, Janice stood today.
and the weightlifting comparison, I'm glad that was helpful. I feel like it is a good analogy because you're setting aside time to develop your muscles to improve strength and flexibility by doing repetitions against the resistance of weight so that you can then employ that strength and flexibility as you live your life, right? Like you don't set aside time to go to the gym or be at home and lift weights just so you're strong and flexible during that time. It's the
Mhm.
same with meditation. We're setting aside this time to practice with our minds to increase our steadiness and our concentration so that we can then employ that steadiness in the service of our day-to-day life, so we can see more clearly what we lean into, what we push away, what our habits are. We enhance our understanding of ourselves and how the mind works, and everyone benefits from that. We see our intentions and our motivations more clearly. We see the parts of ourselves we're less pleased with, and the idea is we can see it with an open heart.
Mm. Yeah, and it's so true that everyone benefits from it, because I was mentioning to someone the other day that when my dog might be out in my porch that's behind a closed door, but when I sit down and I actually get into a meditation, he barks to come in and he wants to sit right next to me. He can feel that steadiness, and of course he snores during my meditation. So
You can use that as your object.
yeah, exactly. So thank you, Tara. Thank you for bringing us this important practice to.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. We're close to the weekend, so have a wonderful Thursday and Friday and weekend ahead, and I'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Shanti Douglas will be here with us on Tuesday. I'll
Oh,
be away on Thursday, and John Roberts will be back on Thursday. So
yes, so John and I will be leading Thursday. Great.
So a couple things to look forward to next week. See you soon, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Okay.